Yo, what's good, guys? We're back at it again with another MLB The Show 25 video for you guys. In today's video, I have 10 hacks for you guys that will instantly improve your gameplay. So some of these are smaller things. Some of these can change the entire way you play the game. For me, a hack is something you can implement pretty quickly, and it can have instant impact on your game. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the content. If any of this does help you, I would urge you to like and subscribe. And we'll go ahead and hop into it. So you can see I'm 1,000 rated. I think I'm like top 350 on the game rating wise in Diamond Dynasty. Not all of this is for Diamond Dynasty. If you're a franchise guy, you can use some of this stuff. If you're a Play Now Online guy, you can use all of this stuff. None of this will be DD specific. It's just some of it, offline against CPU won't really matter. And the first thing we'll get into is equipment. So this one, kind of an asterisk. I don't know if I would call it a hack because you have to order some stuff, or some people won't want to go out of their way to order all this. But the basic things that you need are a monitor that does 120 hertz. Most people on the top of the leaderboards are on a monitor that does 120, and virtually all of them are on a monitor as opposed to like a TV or something like that. So that is kind of the bare minimum. And then from there, if you're on Xbox, you may need a third-party controller, or else your pitching will be a little scuffed, assuming you use pinpoint. Other than that, you got like Control Freaks, precision rings, and that's just all kind of personal preference. Some people say it helps, some people say it hurts. I've done both. I've made World Series, I've made 1,000 rating with none of them, and I've done it with them. So it's just kind of personal preference. It's however you hit best. But you'll never know if you don't try it out. So I think equipment is the #1 hack. You can instantly see better results, assuming you're on the right equipment. The next thing we're going to go over, we'll go ahead and get into custom practice, because I believe everything else will be relevant to gameplay. So here we are. We're going to swap over to team practice real quick, defense. And we'll see what pitchers we have here. So Kluber's cool. I'm hoping to see, yeah, Darren O'Day. Perfect. So we have Mr. O'Day here, and you can see that we are using pinpoint. Pinpoint is going to be your best way to pitch. You can see that on the difficulty we have absolutely no par right there. And if we swap over to pure analog, which is the second best way to pitch, you'll see that we will have a little bit more of a par. So you can see that fastball had no par. Now it has quite a big par. And that's how you would use pure analog. It's basically the last third of pinpoint. So if you can learn pure analog, you're almost, you're learning basically a third of what pinpoint is. If you're not going to go out of your way to learn pinpoint, pure analog is the best balance between competitive and not having to sit here and practice pinpoint, because I know it can be daunting for some people. But you can see that's definitely worth it, because assuming I pitch well here, we can sit here and just tuck this four seam directly in the corner every single pitch if we want to. So that's why you should learn pinpoint. But if not, pure analog is there as the second most competitive option. See a bunch of newer players that use classic or pulse or meter because they used to use it in some older games. That's cool when you're playing offline or when everybody's using that. But nowadays, everybody wants to be more competitive. Most people are on pinpoint or pure analog. So you're going to have to get on one of those if you want to improve your pitching. The next tip I'll give is for a lot of my DD people. If you use Darren O'Day or Hobie Milner or one of these relievers that have to come set, make sure you are doing that. Do not just sit here and spam the pitch as soon as you pick it. Wait for them to come set, go all the way through their motion, and then you will see your accuracy will actually increase. I don't know if it's just something to do with online or if that's how it's coded in general. But if you don't come set, you're going to get a lot of janky pinpoint results where you don't feel like you were inaccurate on the pitch, but it's going to mess it up for you and throw it basically right down the middle. So that is a smaller tip. That is a way more niche tip. But if you are using like O'Day or Milner or one of these relievers that take a while to come set, make sure you are waiting for them to. It's going to help your pinpoint. If you don't, you're going to get some janky results that don't make a ton of sense. I don't know if it's more so you got to wait after you pick your pitch for the server to kind of register what pitch you're trying to throw, or if just the motion of them not being set is what messes up the pinpoint. But it's just a small thing that I have noticed that will help you. Next thing we have is don't be scared to double down. I see a lot of players, they just throw a pitch and then they don't throw it again. And that's just going to hurt you for the entire game. Because if you're a 4-pitch pitcher and you just threw me a 4-seam fastball, I know what you're not throwing. You're now a 3-pitch pitcher for that one pitch. If you're a 5-pitch pitcher, you're turning yourself into a 4-pitch pitcher. So make sure you're not scared to double down. If your opponent is not hitting a pitch well, do not be scared to throw it 2 times in a row, maybe even 3 times. Usually 3 times is pushing it because they've already seen the ball. But do not be scared to double down. It's a very effective tool. And kind of branching off of that is staying unpredictable. I see way too many people will just go ahead and strike Mookie out here and start a fresh at bat, hopefully. And that's what happens when you don't come set. That slider was accurate, but we didn't come set, so we kind of messed it up there. So a good example of what you might see a low-ranked pitcher, and even some high-ranked pitchers still do this. They throw the 4-seam, and then they're like, what do I throw next? Slider. And they throw the slider, and they're like, what do I throw next? And they throw the changeup. And they just run through their whole arsenal in order, or in a order, and they never go back to the same pitch. There is nothing wrong with me just throwing him a high and in fastball here, a low and away changeup, and another high and in fastball. Do not be scared to throw the same pitch multiple times to the same batter. Because if you're just sitting here cycling through your arsenal, again, you're not being unpredictable and know what you're throwing. You see this at low ranks a lot. If you play with lower ranked co-op players, you'll see this a lot, where they just kind of cycle through their whole arsenal and they throw every pitch. You see it a lot with guys that have like curveballs, where at low ranks, people will just end up throwing the curveball a lot because they want to get through the whole pitcher's arsenal. When in reality, the less you throw a curveball in MLB The Show, typically the better you're going to be. So that is another pitching thing. And now we are on to our hitting. So a lot of you guys probably didn't enjoy the pitching. It's boring to a lot of people, but it is a very necessary part of the game. And if you can prevent runs, you don't have to score as many, obviously. So first hitting tip. Hit inside out. It doesn't mean you have to literally sit here and anchor inside, but you need to know, if not, think about it all the time. You have to know that inside pitches have to be swung on earlier. It may seem like common sense to some of you guys, but for newer players, that might just not process for them. So if you are newer, you gotta know that stuff inside, you have to swing earlier on than stuff down the middle, and stuff outside, you have to swing later on. So you almost have to hit inside out, assuming you have like a righty at the plate or a switch hitter against a lefty pitcher. You have to know that you're basically like reading a book, left to right. You're making sure that something isn't inside before you kind of clear it down the middle, and then you're clearing it outside. And it's just kind of threat levels. You have to protect the inside, and then you kind of work your way out from there. So that's an important part of hitting. The next one is learn leg kicks. So for me, this is how I hit. I do not tempo hit because I'm not trying to sit here and look at 2 pixels on the pitcher's elbow to sit here and, still made it to a really high rank. I'm still 1,000 rated. I'm still, a top 500-ish player in the world. And I don't tempo hit. I don't find it necessary on All-Star for sure, Hall of Fame for sure. On Legend, if you're not the most experienced Legend player, sure, it'll help you. But on GOAT, yeah, that's probably the one time you have to tempo hit. So I would not stress all these tempo videos that I see all over TikTok about how you can hit really good if you learn to tempo. And then they show themselves hitting like 4 perfects in the same All-Star game. I got bad news for you. Any good player is going to hit like 10 perfects in an All-Star game. It's just kind of how it's going to go. So my suggestion would be learn leg kicks. You can see Derek Jeter has a toe tap here. It's not my favorite. I haven't been exactly going crazy with him. Carlos Beltran has a very nice swing this year. His is still not super obvious, but if you learn how to use leg kicks, your timing will be better. You'll put more balls in play. And in theory, it does tell you exactly what pitch is coming, but for me, it just kind of lets me know my timing windows, when I should be swinging, when I, should not be, because your leg kick will be super early and you'll be able to tell that's like a curveball in the dirt. So it's a form of kind of tempo hitting, but it's not true tempo hitting. It's not going to tell you exactly what pitch is coming in, but it can be vital to kind of elevating your game. Next thing, learn spin rates. So we're actually going to go to pitching for this, but it's going to help your hitting. Anytime you're pitching, if you actually want to just sit here and learn what pitches spins look like, a lot of people don't even believe that the ball spins when it's coming in. It does. So if I pick a changeup here, you will see the ball is showing you the rotation that it will have. It will look just like that coming in. It'll be a little faster, but the spin will be that exact same spin. A sinker, you'll see it has that little tumbling action as well. A sinker kind of always pops out of the hand, which is another dead giveaway of it. Slider here. And to an inexperienced player, those all probably look the same. But to like a World Series player, as soon as it's coming out of the hand, they're recognizing that spin and it's telling them what pitch it is. In addition to, if I throw a sinker here, you'll see the little like upward motion out of the hand. If you throw a curveball, it's like the same thing. So there's other context clues that kind of go into it. It's not just all the spin. That's why like splitters are really good, because they look like fastballs, and cutters look a lot like four seams. Sinkers look like circle changes, stuff like that. But if you can learn your spins, it's going to help you as a hitter. So if you actually want to just sit here and sweat it, pitching practice might be the best way to do that, because then you know what pitch is coming in. But it's just kind of something you'll pick up on over time. But if you want more like focused practice on it, you can always just come in here and see what the pitches actually look like. Next thing we got is team practice offense with a runner on first. I'm not sure who that's going to be. I think it's going to be Jeter. And it is. So the first thing I want to talk about, and we'll have to put ball in play for this, so might have to change it to beginner, otherwise he might just walk me here. I just want to get a ton of balls in play to show you guys how to base run. I see a lot of people messing up their base running at low ranks. So it changed to beginner, but it did not change your PCI, so that's fun. All right, so here we go. Hopefully we can hit like a double or something like that. That's a home run. Unfortunate. We'll have to set the situation up to repeat here. Team practice. Beltran. Runner on first. Repeat. There we go. All right, now we should be good to go. So hopefully we can hit a double here and not just a home run. So you can see that's in the gap. Pay attention to what I'm doing. I am picking the lead base runner with my left stick as soon as the ball's hit, if I know it's a hit, which is another thing. You might want to change your in-view play offensive cam to high so you have a better idea of where the ball's at. But you want to pick your lead base runner with your analog. You do not want to be base running with the bumpers. Every time I see a clip on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, and it's like people are sitting here complaining like the base running in this game is busted. I didn't hold it this long. Well, when you're in laggy online lobbies, you can't really measure how long you were holding the bumper down. So that's why you would want to pick your lead runner with the analog, tell him what base to go to, and then the guy you just hit the ball with, the batter, still has to run to first. So you have plenty of time. You pick the lead runner, you pick the second runner if there's a multiple on, you tell them where to go, and then you have plenty of time with your batter you just hit the ball with. And that's how you should be base running. If you're sitting here just holding down the bumper, that's how you get into trouble. That's how you run yourself into outs. And that's how you kind of get that excuse a lot of the time of the base running didn't work right or it's busted or whatever. Do not be running with your bumpers. The one exception is when you're tagging. If you're tagging on a fly ball, I think it's okay to use the bumper. Nothing wrong with it there. Final thing I want to talk about. So right here, say we want to steal with Jeter. I see a lot of low rank guys. This is how they steal. They sit over there, they take a lead, and they're gone. They just take a lead, they tell them to steal. I don't know if on beginner the CPU will even pick off, but you can see that he's basically out. So this is how I would advise you. You tell him to steal, and then you try to time your lead. It's a lot easier with players than it is with the AI. The AI will always hold the ball on you. But you want to try to time your lead with right before you think they're about to pitch. And so that's going to give you your one-step lead, but you don't have any of the risk of getting picked off or anything. So I'll try to time it here. If it was a player, he probably would have been pitching right there. You can see any pitcher that has to come set, you'll be able to see kind of when they pick their pitch. Most players don't wait very long. You can see the AI will glance over, think about picking you off like 5 times. But assuming this was a player, we're telling him to steal. And then right before we think he pitches, that was a great example right there. The practice swing kind of threw the AI off a little bit. But I see a ton of low rank players. They just immediately take their lead and they're stealing. That leads to a bunch of pitch outs, a bunch of slide steps, or even getting picked off. So if you're going to steal, in general, I think stealing is a bad idea. This year, it is pretty strong, so there's nothing wrong with it. In general, I would tell you to focus more on your batter than your base runner. But if you are going to steal, try to get that late lead in. Don't just sit there and take a lead. Try to get that late lead so you can guarantee yourself the stolen base instead of just running and hoping that you get a good jump and praying for the best pretty much. So hopefully these tips helped you guys. There should be at least something on here for everybody, hopefully. So if it did help, again, like, subscribe to the channel. Till next time.